It's not often we see an everlasting winter in a Zelda game. It has only happened twice so far to my knowledge. Once in Ocarina of Time and once in Majora's Mask. And well, now here in Tears of the Kingdom. So today, I will be talking about the Rito's regional phenomena, and why I think it's one of the best storylines in the entire Zelda franchise. Our journey starts off at Lookout Landing. After making our way from the Great Sky Island, we learn that the entire kingdom of Hyrule is in peril once again, including Rito Village. After talking to some people at Lookout Landing, we learn that the Rito at Rito Village are currently suffering from a massive blizzard that unexpectedly started. So this game is obviously open world, but the game pushes you into going towards this area first, which is what I did in my first playthrough. So we'll be looking at it as if we haven't gone towards any of the other regions yet. So, as we are making our way towards Rito Village, we stumble across the Bantha Bridge stable, and here we learn more about what's going on. A giant blizzard suddenly came in at about the same time as the upheaval, and it's hitting the village hard. They are struggling to gather enough food and supplies to survive, and depend on outside help to hold out. Okay, so we haven't even seen the village yet, and we can tell that they are being hit hard. This entire build-up so far makes you want to rush to the village as quickly as possible to do something to help. I honestly haven't felt this way since Majora's Mask, but I'll get back to that later. Let's get going. As we continue, we can see the source of the storm itself, getting bigger and bigger the closer we get, an ever-looming threat that we see in the distance no matter where we are. We never get a chance to forget about it, until we eventually end up at the Lucky Clover Gazette. Once we arrive there, we can see that the stable has now been turned into the main headquarters of the Lucky Clover Gazette, a newspaper business becoming popular in the kingdom. From this, we can tell that the everlasting winter is not only affecting the Rito, but the entire region, since it caused the previous owners of the stable to be forced to sell it off. If we continue and try to go into Rito Village, we will be quickly stopped as the bridge connecting to it has been destroyed by the weather. Considering this is still pretty early in the game, this can actually be a pretty big roadblock. If you were like me, you didn't want to waste Zonai materials on a vehicle you didn't know would work, so instead, you'll try something else. I came up with the genius plan of creating my own wonky bridge that surely wouldn't give out in any second using cut down trees from around. So, points for creativity, I guess. Now that we've made it, we can continue heading towards the village. Once we are finally in Rito Village, we can immediately see that it is completely covered in snow. There's so much that it almost goes up to the railings. The only inhabitants remaining are children, forced to stay behind while everyone else either left or are out gathering food for them to survive. This is actually pretty dark. It kind of reminds me of how in Majora's Mask, during the final hours, almost everyone has already evacuated, and some of the only inhabitants left include the bomber children, who are clueless to the impending doom slowly heading towards them. Anyways, back to the children. When we get to the village, we can hear them singing an old children's song called Song of the Stormwind Arc. Great name, very creative guys, yeah, I'm real proud of us for this one. The song is about the Stormwind Arc, and how a once fallen god ascended back to heaven, leaving behind an arc, which brought the Rito new life. Spoiler alert, the Stormwind Arc is real, and it's going to be important later. We continue through the empty, depressing village and see Teba arguing with his son Tulin about how they should deal with the storm above the village. Tulin wants to go and check out the giant cloud right now, and his father wants them to be patient and take extra precaution with it. After that, Tulin flies off to help with a food gathering expedition. So I want to talk about this argument for a second, because both sides of it make some sense. Obviously, they can't just rush in there because that would be dangerous, and they have no idea what could be lurking inside of that, giant storm. But they also don't have the time to just sit there and wait. Every second matters as the temperature is slowly decreasing and as they run out of food. I honestly really like this moment, and I wish that there was just a little bit more to it before it ends, but, it's still fine the way it is. I like it. As nice as that would be, we are immediately set off to go and try to find Tulin again. It's a decently long trip to get to Tulin. The NeverEnding Storm and the lack of sunlight really help give you that feeling of having to survive. This game doesn't give that feeling as much as Breath of the Wild did, so this entire part does feel like something out of that game to me. I know it seems like I'm saying a whole lot of nothing right now, but the next time you find yourself at this part of the game, I would highly suggest just taking in your surroundings and try to see what I'm seeing here. This journey finds us going through a cave, and we talk to a bunch of other Rito about Tulin being here. From one of them, we learn that Tulin went off to go and try to fight a group of monsters alone. Newsflash, it didn't work out, and Tulin lost his bow, so he teams up with us to try and get it back. This is where we get to use Tulin's power of wind, the arguably best and most useful out of all the sage's powers. So we go and get his bow back easy peasy, but then we get attacked by more monsters. Whatever will we do? Done. While celebrating our victory, something happens, I guess, and then some of the other Rito come and tell us about how good of a job we did. Tulin realizes that the power of friendship is cool, and that we should work together to try and stop the giant thunderhead. This part does feel a little strange. I get that they were trying to get Tulin to learn a lesson about teamwork or whatever, but I feel like it was just a little rushed. Though it definitely was better than what Breath of the Wild did with Teba, so I guess I shouldn't be complaining. Now it's time for my favorite part of the quest. As I said, this next part is my favorite part of the entire game. I feel no matter how I talk about it, I'll never be able to give it the justice it deserves, but I'll try. Okay, you start a little ways down the Hebra Mountains, and you have to climb the rest of the way up it. Once you reach the summit, the views are already immaculate, but you still have a long ways to go. Before I continue, the music during this part is amazing. It is one of the best pieces of music I think I've ever heard. It has the familiar little chimes that usually play when you are in a cold region, but made a little more high-pitched. At first, the music is rather calm, waiting for you to continue progressing, and gets more extreme later on. Compared to some of the more intense pieces of music this game has, this makes you, or, well, at least me, feel a little sad, I guess? I don't really know how to describe it. Loads of games make it so that the fate of the world is in your hands, and you have to go be the hero that saves the day. Some games show you what happens when you fail, but Tears of the Kingdom doesn't, at least not at this point. But you still know that if you fail, the Rito will freeze, and who knows when the storm will stop spreading. As I said, I can't put into words how great this part is. The only thing I can try and do is convince you to play this again, and take in the environment. The amazing atmosphere Nintendo was able to create with this part. It is my favorite part of the game. Once we get a little further along, we start seeing something weird. There are a bunch of little boats flying through the air, and they are in the style of something created by the Zonai. Right as we see them, that something from earlier happens again. This time, a voice follows it, telling us to come to it. And when we look up, we can see the silhouette of something giant in the thunderhead. Let's continue. As the temperature gets colder and colder, and the higher we go, the music starts to build up. No longer the calming, peaceful music we heard earlier, now becoming more grand. As we jump from ship to ship, getting closer and closer until we are at the top. The game puts you right next to the heart of the storm. You can feel the wind pushing you the higher you get. Once we jump on one of the final ships, we are thrown above the clouds, above the storm, and we finally see the sunlight once again. No snow to block our vision. The music prepares you for your final dive into the eye of the storm. Once inside, we can see that the thing we saw earlier was a giant boat, the legendary Stormwind Ark, the Wind Temple. For being the first dungeon of the game, they made the entrance to it one of the most grand, awe-inspiring things I've ever experienced. Once in the Wind Temple, we have to find 5 different locks and unlock each one so we can open up the hatch on the deck of the Ark. As I was kind of talking about earlier, the Stormwind Ark looks very similar to something the Zonai would have created, so I am inclined to say that it was probably built by them a very long time ago with all the other ruins around Hyrule. Every lock that we unlock causes the music to become more and more intense. There are many different themes used in the Wind Temple theme, mainly from Breath of the Wild, from the Attack on Vaughn Meadow theme to Revali's theme. Come on, Nintendo, I've got over the champion's death already, don't make me have to do it again. Anyways, can you tell the music is a very important part of the storyline? The puzzles on this temple are actually really cool, and loads of them require you to use icicles found around the area to open doors in one way or another. The fact that icicles are a key part of the dungeon, well, to say it's just extremely unique. And while I do miss the puzzles used in other Zelda games, I think that Tears of the Kingdom came up with some very creative ones. Now that we've got all the locks open, it's time to get back to the top deck and open the hatch. Opening the hatch causes an unexpectedly incredibly strong wind to throw Link and Tulin high into the air. Once they regain their composure, they see the Scourge of the Wind Temple, Colgera, emerge from within the ship. This is the monster that's been causing the massive blizzard freezing over Rito Village, and so, one of the most epic boss fights ever begins. I'm sure you already know that the Colgera boss theme is a remix of the Dragon Roost Island theme from Wind Waker. I really wish they used more themes from older games in Tears of the Kingdom, because when they do, they're always absolute masterpieces like this one. This is probably the most memorable boss theme out of all 4 of the regional phenomena bosses, and I can see why. It is the most epic, thrilling theme in the entire Rito storyline. Now on to the actual boss. Colgera is a play on the name Molgera, which was a boss in the Wind Waker. Colgera is this giant centipede-like flying creature that you mainly attack using ice-themed attacks. The entire time you fight Colgera, you are flying through the air, and you have 2 options of what you can do. You could shoot its weak points, or dive directly through them. I made the mistake in my first playthrough of just shooting them, but I insist that you guys go and fight Colgera and dive through its weak points. It is so much more epic that way. I know because that's what I did when recording footage for this video. Once Colgera is defeated, the Thunderhead finally stops, and you can sit through the imprisoning war speech with Tulin, which I won't be showing because it doesn't have much to do with the topic of this video. In the end, the snow made by the blizzard starts to melt away very quickly, and you get some beautiful shots of the Rito finally coming back. Tulin and his father finally see eye to eye, and you are one step closer to stopping the Demon King. Hey guys, sorry this video took so long to get out. I'll try to get the next one out faster. So I just want to say a couple things before I go. First off, Happy New Year! Yeah, I had a video that I was going to have come out before the New Year happened, but I never got around to it, so sorry about that. And another thing I wanted to talk about real quick is I would like to thank you guys for 100 subscribers. We did it! I'm still excited about this. It happened a while ago, back in like October or November, but still pretty excited about it. Yes, more Splatoon stuff is on its way sometime in the future. I might have something out next month. I don't know. We'll have to see. Anyways, I'd just like to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like down below and subscribe. I'm going to try to get more videos out this year, and they should be higher quality, so look forward to that. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.